Hello, everybody. I hope everybody had a safe and happy new year. Let's dive right into what's happening in real estate. There's a lot of things going on, so let me just share this with you real quick. What we're going to talk about today. So the current 30-year fixed mortgage rates are around 5.7%. This is with my good friend Ron Glasser from Mac Mortgage Lending, and also probably my good friend and business associate, Kat Whitman, would also have a very similar rate. Those are the two lenders I'm working with. Interesting thing is, let's just see what Daily News would say. I think there's around 6. Yeah, let me just refresh this real quick. Yeah, it's 6.1. So yes, so they can do a lot better, as you can clearly see here. Interesting thing is happening here. So there is a policy change being proposed, a policy shift. That would be a proposed ban on institutional home buying. So large institutional buyers or corporations could no longer just come in and sweep up thousands of single-family residences and then putting back on the market, making it more expensive for the American home buyer. I think it's a great idea to go that route. Of course, as you can see, the market reaction is negative because stocks of major real estate investment firms, related home builder stocks, have already declined following this announcement. It hasn't even happened yet. It's just a proposed shift. I think it's a good idea because I think the American dream to be able to afford a home should still be kept alive. It has been for many decades. The last few years, it's changed drastically, obviously, for the obvious reasons. But anyway, that's something to keep an eye on. I think it'd be a good idea. The other thing that's happening is, too, a brokerage industry shakeup. So Compass and Anywhere is merging, right? So these are the two largest real estate brokerages. They're actually completing a merger ahead of schedule. So this is a big deal. Compass also has an interesting thing going on where they wanted to not put their listings that they have on the MLS anymore, and you would have to actually physically walk into one of the offices to see the listings. I'm not sure how that would help the consumer. I think it's not a good idea, but they must have a reason for doing that. So this is another situation that is kind of on the horizon. We don't know exactly where this is going to go. However, it's something to keep an eye on. Okay, shift in homeowner mortgage rates. Yes, for the first time in years, more U.S. homeowners now have mortgages at 6% or higher. This shift may increase mobility. Again, some people think it's going to be better. I'm hoping we're seeing, rates at the low fives, even high fours would be amazing. That would really boost the market. Or remember, like what we talked about last time, was the portable mortgage that the Trump administration suggested, or 50-year mortgages, which of course the lenders and the banks, I'm sure, don't like. But a portable mortgage is an interesting thing where and they have it in Canada, where you take your existing mortgage loan to the new house. So the way I understood it was, let's say you have $1 million house, you have $500,000 paid off, you have a $5,000 mortgage remaining. You're now buying another house, so you're selling that house, but you're taking that mortgage with you. Then that house gets sold, you pay the $500,000 off, but you get the same rate. So if you have a 2.5 rate or 3% rate, you can take that rate with you to the next purchased house. Now in Canada, though, it's only good for 5 years. Now, some people say that's a great deal, 5 years, 2.5%, whatever it is, but then you have to shop around for a new rate, which is going to be slightly higher. I think it would be an amazing, probably not going to happen, but it would be an amazing way to do this if you can take your rate with you for the entire duration of the mortgage, the 30 years. But who knows if it's going to happen? I don't think the bank will agree with that. Another thing that's interesting is, so Zillow is a bit in hot water, right? So Zillow with the Flex program. So let me just share the screen real quick here again, and so you can have a look at this, because that is pretty intense what's going on here.
The lawsuit filed in November, originally the Taylor case, claims that its network of agents intentionally steer buyers towards using loans and inflate the cost.
Nobody's gonna catch me.
There are sponsors and paid advertisers that they put in front of these listings or off to the side of the listing. What happens is the buyer assumes and expects that to be the listing agent. They're tricked into thinking that that agent actually has the listing, and then they enter into a buyer agreement with that agent. And as it turns out, they are not the listing agent of the property, and in many cases have no idea and or real information about the property in general.
This is huge for me, right? Because remember, we just had that NAR lawsuit where sellers stated that they were not aware that they're paying also for the buyer's agent commission. Huge lawsuit. billions of dollars were exchanged, and some people made a lot of money. Probably the attorneys, I'm not sure. But now, when Zillow comes in, and that's what they're accused of, it's a very similar situation by this, I think, by the same law firm. Is that with their Flex program. So when you go on a Zillow, you see the listing, and the Flex program shows an agent on the right side. Now the consumer is being tricked into believing that this agent is the actual listing agent of that particular property, but that is not the case at all. So Flex agent means you're paying Zillow a certain amount of money or a cut of your commission in order to be presented on the right side or left side of the screen of that particular listing, right? So now you're being tricked into, you call, and then you find out, like this gentleman just said, you call and you find out that this agent that you just called, who was next to that listing, doesn't even have any idea or information about that property. Now that is, again, trickery, and this is sort of like skirting the issue, and that is what they're going after. I'm not sure if they're going to be successful. I do agree it's not okay to do that. I've never been a big fan of Zillow because they were trying to get rid of all real estate agents. However, everybody has a right to do business and do whatever they want, but when they get into those kind of shenanigans, I think there should be an eye kept on it. Let's see what else we have really quick. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible here, short as possible. The real estate market outlook for 2026. Housing experts and major real estate organizations are forecasting a modest rebound in market normalization in 2026. Now, some people believe the rates are not going to come much further down than 6%. This is National Association of Realtors. And again, Redfin seems to think that the home prices increased slightly, around 1%, which is probably true because there hasn't been a lot of equity growth lately. That's something to keep in mind. And let me see what else we have. That is about it. Another thing, a good note we have is we sold our Pico location. Finally. And this was interesting. Sometimes they say one door closes, another door opens up. So we had a buyer on the contract for almost 9 months, almost a year, right? They had 2 finance contingency extensions. Then they asked for another one, and we asked for a non-refundable deposit. They didn't want to do it. Anyway, make a long story short, it fell apart, and all that work going there with the contractors and showing the property over and over again, I thought it was all a waste of time. However, last minute, we contacted a gentleman who made an offer a year prior, and he came in at the price that the seller wanted, and it was a cash deal, 10-day close. It was a quick turnaround, which was really a gift from heaven almost, but these things do happen in real estate. Anyway, if you have any questions about real estate related matters, here's my number on the bottom of the screen. If you are looking to purchase a property here in Los Angeles, or if you're looking to put your property on the market, I'd be glad to give you a free advice on my part, what I would do, how I would go about it, what my plan of action would be to sell your house. And in the meantime, I want to thank you for watching this, and I say thank you until next time.